Are you winning this week talking about having some more fun and just, maybe getting rid of some of that frustration? How has the week played out? Have you gotten that done?
Did I say that? Have more fun?
Yeah.
I want them to be able to, obviously there's got to be a fun part to football. There's no doubt about that. And I think they've had a good week of practice. I think they've prepared again. And they've thrown some tweaks off, like you obviously do in bye weeks, to make sure that you are doing the best for your personnel. So, good solid week of practice. And they're excited to play against a very good team. It's a great opportunity for these kids, and they're well prepared and they're excited about it.
Even the bye, was that a good opportunity? Did it come at a good time in the schedule?
I think so. Last year I think it was game 2, and so I said it was a good time then too. So you take them where they are, but for this team this year, I think it was a good spot for the bye. It was we're 4 games in, and we can make some adjustments. Probably the biggest positive, after a huge negative, was the loss of Jake. Right, so the ability for Darryl and quite frankly Connor to be able to come in and get reps with their receivers and running the offense on a bye week was a big positive.
What kind of an advantage is it that Darryl's actually started games before when you have to go to the backup?
Well, he's been in the moment, right? And he's played in a lot of big games, and he'll be ready to go. So it's a big advantage. You have a starting quarterback that is back in there, and he's ready to go. So he's very excited about this opportunity. He understands it's his last year, and you'll get his best shot every single week. So I would say that's a really nice advantage to have.
With the impact that he can make with his legs, do you want him tempering that a little bit, given the depth behind him, or do you just have to let him be natural when he's out there?
I don't think you really hold him back. I believe that Darryl's going to make those good decisions. Again, he's played enough football to understand when there's a need and when the play's over with, and he'll use his legs to his advantage, but I think he'll use them very smart. So, the discussion, I don't think that discussion needs to be had with a veteran like he is. He's going to go out there and win, and whatever it takes to win, he'll do. But I also think he'll carry himself understanding that we need him to be back to the quarterback.
After a couple weeks not playing, looks like Thomas Tyner is getting back into the flow of the offense this week. Do you foresee his role perhaps increasing and finding that niche you guys have been looking for him to find?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd like to get him back in the flow of things, and he's had a good week of practice, which is good. And now we basically shut it down. There's a lot of mental things that take place from here on out, but if we were playing an hour from right now, he'd be healthy and be ready to go, which is awesome for Thomas. And he's been obviously frustrated not being out there and be able to practice the way he wanted to, but this week it's been there, so he can be a part of that offense, and he's healthy and he's ready to go. You'll see him out there.
When he is ready to go, what can he bring, perhaps that the fans or anyone else hasn't seen those first couple games he did play?
Well, I think you saw glimpses of that when Thomas was in there. He has very good speed. I think he catches the ball very well. He's a threat with the ball outside of the backfield. Throwing to the flat and the different things that everybody's doing now with the running backs, but he has that real skill set of speed, and his God-given ability is pretty good when he can get the ball in his hands. And so it's a little bit of a catch-up time too. How much he can do, how good a shape he is, all those things come into it that you have to play into the role. But he wants to do it, and he wants to be ready to go.
When you look at a team of Washington's caliber, is it going to take a nearly perfect game from you guys in order to pull off the upset with not many people expecting you to beat them?
Yeah, I don't know if the word perfect could be involved in football. But obviously you have to play very well to ever win in the Pac-12, and you have to be able to stand in there and with the physical nature, especially against this team, because that is their MO. They want to be physical. They have some very talented athletes all over the place, but at the end of the day, they want to be physical in the front seven on both sides. Their offensive line, their tight ends, quite frankly, the running backs, and then on the vice versa on the other side of the ball with the D-line, the linebackers. Those guys are very physical. So the physical part of this game, I think, will be a big part of it. And they made that very clear last week that that's what they wanted to do, and they wanted to show their personality, and they did a very nice job with that. So, but you have to play well anytime to win in a Pac-12 game. Absolutely, yes. And that's one of the big keys for us is those ups and downs that come our way, and quite frankly, some of those self-inflicted wounds that we're punishing ourselves in this league and against a good football team. Frankly, you won't win if you have too many of those self-inflicted wounds, and we've definitely done that. And we're working hard coaching it. The kids are working hard to get it prevented as we move forward.
As you've seen Washington's tape, first couple weeks of the season, they struggled to get Myles Gaskin going. He exploded against Colorado. What changed for them in that Colorado game, and do you expect that to continue?
Well, he hit some creases that were some big creases, and great job by the blocking up front. And when that young man gets himself into space at the second level, he's very, very difficult to catch, number one. He's very difficult to bring down. And I think what makes him an elite back, in my opinion, is the way that when contact comes his way, whether it's one guy in on him or two guys in on him, he's going to move forward, and he has a tremendous ability to do that. And then his vision, which is so key as a running back, is I think it's very, very clean. And the plays that may not be blocked out the way that they put him up on the board, oftentimes he has the ability to make something out of a play that wasn't perfect again on the board. So he's a great back. I expect him to have a tremendous year, and hope he doesn't have a tremendous game against the Beavs.
Third year facing Browning. What's unique about him that's made him to be a success kind of from start to finish?
He's just so steady. What you want in a quarterback. He runs his offense, whether it's going really good for him or not going so well for them. He can make all the throws. He has the touch throws. He can throw it across the field from the opposite hash and puts the ball on the dime. I think he's very talented when he gets out of the pocket, especially to his right. Very, very talented. And his offense, quite frankly, does a very good job of getting to those spots where he knows where they're going when things again break down. So his ability to run the offense is fantastic, makes all the throws, but the uniqueness that I think separates him from a lot of quarterbacks is his ability again, when it breaks down, to make special plays.
Can you talk about just the impact that Dante Pettis has, and would you guys try to stop him, trying to punt away from him? What are you guys trying to do to limit Pettis' potential out there?
Yeah, in the simplest of terms, you don't want him to get the ball in his hands unless he waves his hand in the air on the punt returns. That's the goal going into it, and he does a tremendous job again of picking his spots. He knows when that opportunity is there, and he has great vision once he gets that ball in his hands. He's got a lot of guys that take a lot of pride in blocking for him also, so he is a unique talent. That just doesn't happen. That's a special young man back there doing what he's done for a long time, and it goes back to the whole time he's been there. It's been magical this year, but it's been really special the years before also. So you got to try to get him in a position to where he doesn't feel comfortable catching the ball and getting space.
You mentioned the Washington D-line a couple times this week and how physical that they are. What challenges does that present for your offensive line, and is it different with a more mobile quarterback behind there with Darryl compared to Jay?
Yeah, that always could be a positive, right? When things can break down, that maybe they're a little bit more worried about their rush lanes at times. But you are exactly right. Like I've said many times, this is a gifted front. There's a lot of guys that are going to play on Sundays for a long time on that front, and they big, physical, tough kids that play the game the right way, and they play with a lot of energy. And I've been around some gifted D linemen in my career, and a couple guys right there that Washington has right now would definitely be up there with some of the best that I've coached for sure.
Coach, when in a game like this, is kind of the goal to keep Washington's offense on the field and try to keep the ball with ball control. I mean, in the last year, I don't know the exact number, you guys were one of just a few teams to run for over 100 yards on Washington. Would that kind of be the goal this year?
Yeah, we want to. We definitely would like to run the ball. I think, hopefully some change-ups that you try to put into the offense and will work for us in a positive way, which is natural when you have a different quarterback and you have a bye week to be able to get settled in. But we would like to be able to control the clock and keep the ball out of their hands. There's no doubt about that. It's tough duty on both sides, because when they get it, they have scored a lot, and when they get out there on defense, they get off the field pretty darn fast. So, but that would be controlling the clock and having the time of possession in our favor as much as possible would be a very good thing for us in this game.
You talked about lending your voice a little bit on the defensive end side of things. What improvements have made since you've really kind of delved in there?
Oh, I'm not taking credit for any improvements that come their way. If it's going to be good, it's going to be the kids that made it good. But it's just, if I feel like I can help, I'm going to jump over there and try to help the kids get into a spot and help the coaches just as much as I can. And I don't pound my chest and say I'm some special super coordinator or what have you, but sometimes another eye, another voice can be helpful on whatever side of the ball. And defense is where I grew up, and that's if I think I can help over there and give them a lending hand, I'm more than happy to do that.
Gonna watch Washington State USC tomorrow?
Oh yeah, that'll be it's a big boy Pac-12 game. It'll be a crazy crowd up there, and Washington State Game 5 at home, 5-game stretch at home. So that's one of their last games at home this season, which is crazy to say, but that'll be a very intriguing game. I'm excited to watch that tomorrow night.
What's it like? Obviously, Luke so well, and you talk about playing him, but when it's different, and it's going to be one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game that Washington State has played in the last 20 years.
Yep.
Do you talk to Luke at all, or do you just kind of let him be? Or
I don't really talk to Luke. We have our relationship from back in the day with the boys, and I'm sure they talk quite a bit still with my kids. But I know that was a very tight knit group that they played with in high school, and those kids talk a lot. And but I don't. Luke doesn't need me. He's in a very good spot. He knows if he needed something from me, he could reach out to me. And I talked to the floor kid. That was a tough injury that he had in our game, and I text back and forth with him. And he's a special kid, and I was able to talk to him after the game for a minute. And his season looks like it's going to be done. But if there's kids I know and something goes wrong, I'll reach out to him. But I don't. Hey, Luke, what's up?
How was the team practice this week?
Very good. I think their attitude is very solid, and I told them that the biggest thing today is fight today. That's right where we are. We got to fight today. We got to work our tails off to win today, and then let's get to tomorrow. And that's just where we are, and we can't hide from where we are and the situation that we're in, and you can't pout about it. You can dislike it, but you have to work to make it better. And so I think fighting every day is so important for these kids, and they've done a nice job with that this week.